welcome to Labour Lens. I am Sharon Ijason. On this week's edition of the program, we will be dedicating the edition to late Comrade Ibrahim Khalil, the former national president of the Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees. He also was the national treasurer of the Nigerian Labour Congress. We also have news stories for you. We will be right back.
Delayed by initial hiccups, the extended Special Public Works Program of the federal government has kicked off. 25,000 persons in Delta State are beneficiaries of a program designed to have a positive impact on the lives of 774,000 persons in local councils nationwide.
Our target is to immediately engage the 774,000 selected unemployed Nigerians for the program to execute carefully selected projects across the 774 local government areas in the country. Each participating local government identified its preferred projects and will be responsible for ensuring that they are executed as planned. It is instructive to mention that all the tools and equipment required have been provided. Hence, the federal government expects strong commitment from all stakeholders in ensuring efficient implementation.
The beneficiaries are grateful for the initiative that the government hopes should have a positive impact on the economy of Delta State.
The program is conceived by the APC government at the federal level, but it's trickled down irrespective of political party at the state level, to the extent that the people who will benefit will be people that will cut across different political parties, because hunger does not know any political party. And that is why we welcome this particular program of the federal government, believing that it also falls in line with what we are doing in the state to ensure that the majority of our people are taking up the streets.
As of now, I have nothing doing, because I know that they say step by step you reach your reach. By the little amount they will give me, at least I will manage it and be looking forward for another more jobs to come.
I used to be farmer in my village, because I live in village, but fraud is disturbing us towards every year, almost 8 months. With this, even if they increase it more, I can still feed my family. With this, I can also feed my family.
With monthly wages of 20,000 naira each, beneficiaries of the program will carry out public works in the localities for the next 3 months.
All that he did lives with me on a moment-to-moment basis. Why? Because I came into Norge, to the national, through his making. When we were trying to make sure that we put the union aright, when Norge had issues, I was, drafted in from Rivers State. Then I was the Director Admin, Local Government Service Commission. And because of my upright way of handling issues at the commission, I was drafted in as the caretaker committee member for Norge, Rivers State, the chairperson. And who was I representing? I was representing Khalil. And why? Because he wanted the constitution of Norge to be, used to be upright in all that we were doing. The tenure of the president then had expired, and they couldn't conduct election. And by our constitution then, if you cannot conduct election and your tenure has expired, then caretaker committee would be formed. And I was, appointed the caretaker committee chairperson for Rivers State. And we worked. And I find out that he was upright.
Since I entered into the labor politics, I have not seen a man, a comrade like Ibrahim Khalil. He's a very selfless man. He's a struggler. He will make sure that whatever he targets to get for the local government workers, he stands for it. In fact, I cannot forget, thank God we're in Lagos. During our agitation for autonomy, local government autonomy, we marched to Lagos State House of Assembly. When we got to that place, he fainted because he was tired. He was taken to an ambulance. It took some minutes for him to be revived. I cannot forget that day. And he said to me, because I entered into the ambulance with him, Igwe, if I die, please, people should continue this struggle. The late president is a man I have never seen his type in the labor politics.
Well, nothing short of the legacies, a continuation of the legacies of Ibrahim Khalil. Nothing short of that. Ensure that the struggle for autonomy is reawakened and vigorously pursued. Ensure that workers' rights are also not trampled upon. Ensure that there is unity and harmony amongst the union and lived up to their promises, at least their electoral promises.
The late comrade Ibrahim Khalil MNI was a graduate of the Ahmadu Bello University ABU Zaria, where he studied accountancy. He also obtained an MBA from the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi. The late national president of the Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees, NOLGE, attended a senior executive course at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, Kuru Jos, where he backed a member of the National Institute, MNI. Described by many as a man of peace, the late Khalil was also popularly called Mr. Autonomy in recognition of his efforts in leading the struggle and campaign for local government autonomy in the country. Ibrahim Khalil, who was also the treasurer of the Nigerian Labour Congress NLC, died on the 7th of October 2020.
He's a comrade to the core. You remember he stood for firmness in trade unionism, especially the issue of local government autonomy. Not only that, he's a committed labor leader. He was also somebody that was a team player because you need unity to be able to achieve in trade union movement. And he has been able to play that team role that brought many people together. And you can see he's gone, but he's still being remembered today because of the legacies he has left. So for me, one of the things we are going to miss is that his agility and also his purposefulness in leadership. He's referred to in most cases as Mr. Autonomy because before now, as I gave you the analogy, we lost the issue of local government autonomy after 2003 when states now began to conduct local government election. And he picked that up as a challenge, and it's still remaining a challenge today in Nigeria because we cannot address the issue of insecurity and many other developmental challenges if we don't address the issue of autonomy of local government, where funds can go to the local government, even the issue of urban-rural migration. Many people today are living in the rural areas because nothing is happening. So clearly speaking, I think we are going to lose that leadership quality that is in him.
According to reports, he slumped and was rushed to an Abuja hospital where he was confirmed dead. He was appointed by President Muhammadu Buhari to chair the ongoing probe panel instituted by the federal government to investigate top management of Nigeria's Social Insurance Trust Fund, NSITF.
The death of my brother, friend, colleagues, close associates is still on me. I find it very difficult from that 7th of October to date. There's no single day that I did not remember Ibrahim Khalil because of my closeness with him. And not only that, his humility. He's a man of peace, a man of courage, a person that I have been together, not for long, but we became like more than 100 years as a brothers. There is no single day when Khalil is alive that we are not together. So immortalizing Khalil, for me, is a mandate that I have taken from that day to the end of my life by praying, making sure that I stood by his left family so that in terms of his contributions to the development of the trade union movement is unquantifiable. You know, Khalil is a very quiet, calm, but full of idea, full of strategics to ensure goals is achieved. Now, I'm going to miss him on that note because it's hardly you see Khalil annoyed. Even while he's hot, he will conforce and make sure he deliver the intent of what brought him there.
Buried in his hometown of Wudil in Wudil local government area of Kano State, according to Islamic rites. Described as a freedom fighter and a dogged activist who spent most of his life in the struggle for the welfare of workers, the late Khalil will be remembered by labor leaders for his contributions to the struggle for emancipation of workers. High point of this is his simplicity, hard work, honesty, and humility to all. Until his death, he was a staff of the Kano State Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs.
On the profile interview segment this week, we will recall some of the exclusive interviews Labour Lens had with late Comrade Ibrahim Khalil. We will be right back. There's a call for restructuring in Nigeria. What's your members' position as regards restructuring?
We believe as a union, Nigeria needs to be restructured. It needs to be restructured in a way that it will impact on the livelihood of the Nigerian citizens. Not a restructuring that is meant well for the ruling class. So the concept or the idea of restructuring as a whole is a welcome idea, but it must be holistic in approach, and all hands must be on deck. There's no way you can restructure Nigeria to the benefit of the Nigerian masses without strengthening the institutional frameworks of local government. I believe, and we believe as a union, that our agitation for local government autonomy is an element of restructuring, because all is not well with local government system, and it needs to be restructured, and it needs to be, so many issues need to be addressed in order to connect the system with the people at the grassroots level, so that the issue of inclusiveness we are talking about, which is the cardinal, objective in any democratic setup, could be achieved.
Okay, we know that minimum wage is top national issue in the country at the moment. What should talk about the ultimatum that Labour has given, and how are local government workers coping with the amount of money received at the moment?
Well, local government as a system, and particularly local government workers, when you are talking of working class in Nigeria, are always at the receiving end. Because they are the most discriminated class of workers in Nigeria. They are deserted, and maybe because of the level of encroachment we are talking about. And definitely, local government workers in Nigeria are yearning for an enhanced salaries because of the economic hardship in the country, because of the inflation rate that is growing by the day, because of so many indices. The Nigeria Labour Congress and other centers, labor centers in Nigeria, consider before pushing for the increase and demand for an enhanced wages in the country. One, we achieved 18,000 minimum wage, I think, in the year 2010. From when this 18,000 minimum wage came into being to date is 8 good years. And between 2010 to this year, a lot of issues cropped in. The issue of devaluation of Naira was there by this government. The increase and hike in the petroleum products was there, and so many other economic issues that make or useless the 18,000. So what 18,000 can give you in 2010, it will hardly give you, 1/3 of what it will give you in 2010. So if justice is to be done to workers, not only the workers of local government, definitely we deserve an increase in our salaries. And more importantly, that the law of the land clearly stipulated that after every 5 years, there is the need to review the issue of salaries, the minimum wage of workers. And we are in 8 years now without any serious approach to address this issue.
Finally, we still have so many states that are owing workers salaries. What's your message to defaulting states?
I think even in this today's National Executive Council of NLC, we resolved that any state government that fail in its responsibility of paying worker salaries, they should not enjoy the patronage of working class in that state.
From my experience, I know that we have so many male and also females that actually experience violence and harassment in the workplace. Are there practical ways that the Nigerian Labour Congress wants to actually address this issue? Could it be in the form of advertisements? Could it be in the form of probably empowering the youth department or the women commission department? What are the practical ways that what practical ways do you think that the Nigerian Labour Congress and other organized labor centers can actually adopt to ensure that workers feel comfortable to come out in the open to express whatever challenges they're actually faced with in the space or in the workplace?
I think in the first place, that is why we are already excited about the outcome of several meetings and engagements that took place on this particular topic here in Geneva. The first and foremost is to get a sort of legal frameworks that will guide the protection of this violence and harassment in the world of work. And I believe what this process is going to produce is going to give us what we expected from ILO as working class to ensure that the most vulnerable of the tripartite as far as this issue is concerned and the workers are protected. And as you say, Nigeria Labour Congress in particular had been engaged, actually showed a lot of commitment in this area, and I'm sure by the time we achieve having this issue as a convention and also come with its recommendations, certainly we are going to do more to ensure that our workers, our members back home are protected. But going forward, apart from the issue of regulations, there is the need of enlightenment. The workers need to be educated, well informed about all forms of violence and harassment, because it may interest you to know that it's not every worker that saw that harassment as an issue even, because in most places, in most cases where such acts happen, you see workers see it as his own personal issue. But it should be seen as beyond that, because it's something that really disorganizes the system. And that is why the issue of enlightenment is also key to it. And we are going to look at it and do what is necessary in order to carry all the working class along, enlighten them, and do what is expected on them to protect and ensure that they raise their voice when there are issues like that.
There's this conversation about pay disparity, especially when it comes to what a man earns and what a woman earns on the table for doing the same work. Is there any plans to ensure that probably there's more advocacy in Nigeria as regards ensuring that there's gender equality in the workplace?
Yes, impact is part of the second leg of the activities that took place in this conference. I believe you are aware of the protest that went on by the workers group in the conference because of the demand for new social contract between the workers and the employers of labor across the globe. And we are demanding for a new social contract that will promote, and prevent the issue of disparity in income, disparity in and discrimination at the workplaces, to a new contract order that will provide equality between the working class across the globe, and also provide new social order that will ensure protection of workers actively in service and those that are on retirement. That means the issue and the challenges across the globe on a pension and gratuity payment. So is the second issue that working class in this conference are demanding.
A lot has been happening in the labor space, particularly when it has to do with Nigerian Union of Local Government, and we are very much aware of your union's pursuit towards achieving local government autonomy. Now, the NFIU has released a circular that seems to promote local government autonomy. I'd like to ask you, what's your take on this development?
Well, as a union in local government, certainly, would be happy to have any intervention from any quarter that will enhance the productivity of this tier of government. And we saw the guidelines coming from this agency as a timely intervention to ensure that the finances of the local government are protected, to make sure that funds coming to local governments goes to the individual local governments in order to ensure people are carried along in developmental projects, people and the gap that exists in governance is adequately breached, which is the main aim of establishing local government anywhere in the world. And we were excited as a union, and we saw it as a right step in the right direction, and we believe it is going to be good for Nigeria and Nigerians.
Okay, looking at the engagements that your union has actually had in the last couple of years, we realized that the legislative arm has been actually carried along on the need to ensure local government autonomy. Now, I'm very much aware that some voted for local government autonomy and others did not. Now, my concern again is the state governors writing to the government agency NFIU, telling them that they have no business in how they actually disburse their funds to the government fund to the local government. I don't want to talk too much, but I would like you to probably enlighten us on the benefits of local government autonomy, how it will actually increase good governance in Nigeria.
Well, I think the issue of local government autonomy we have been yearning for a long period of time. It's all about having a functional local government system. A local government system that will be there for a common man. A local government system that can achieve that inclusive platform for development that was designed, to achieve with this tier of government. And we believe for you to have a third tier of government in any country, that tier of government need some level of independence to operate. Because why do we have local government in the first place? As we have been saying time without number, is to provide that inclusive platform for development, is to ensure that people are carried along, is to ensure that governance are brought closer to the people. You know, decentralization in governance is achieved. And for us to have that, this tier of government need to have some pre-level of operation so that it can address those local issues that the other level of government may not even see as an issue. And that is the essence of the local government.
Next week, we'll continue our focus on local government employees as a new national president has emerged following the 7th National Delegates Conference held in Lagos. I am Sharon Ijason. Always remember that labor creates wealth.